Yes, right back here in the studios of WLCN. The program is Viewpoint, a program of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. And today I would say that we have a personality, David Lanterman, product of Elkhart and a resident of Lincoln. Very proud to have this young fellow in to stay in the community. He has talents that might take him far afield, but he's chosen to drop his anchor here in Logan County, and we're glad that that's happened. David has shown a really insightful interest into downtown Lincoln, owns several pieces of property down there, and most recently acquired the Lincoln Theater. And perhaps we might have a call. I'm not certain. We do have that call. All righty. Yes, go ahead, caller.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi. Is this Judy?
It's all of us,
Judy, David, and William are correct?
Yes, that's
this
the truth.
Clark. How are you all doing today?
Fine, and yourself?
Pretty good. I just wanted to say to David, I think you've done a wonderful job with the theater.
Thank you, Doug.
We were there a few nights ago, and in fact, doing a wonderful job all around town. And also, Bill, I just wanted to know which part of the Our Gang, which character from Our Gang did you play?
I think I was Alfalfa.
I remember him with his little howling.
At least you still got the hair.
I can't remember yesterday. You didn't ask me to go back that far.
I understand. And you don't remember who Spanky was, huh?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, Spanky McFarland, yes. He had a little trouble later on in his adult life.
Yeah, he did, bless his heart. Oofta.
He had different proclivities.
I just wanted to check in with you and see if I could raise a smile.
All right, well, you did. Thank you very much for the call, and don't put anybody away today as they come into your office.
Well, I'll try not to.
All right.
We'll try to keep them all out on the street so they can attend the theater Friday night.
Thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, keep up the good work, David. Yep, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, that was our good friend, Mr. Buck here, and paying David a time ago. David, you might recall this. They had tried to bring back classic movies for a period of time. Is that in your thinking at all down the road? You think that's a viable merchandising tool?
I don't know that necessarily, the economics are just to help the theater out, but I do think it has potential to do some fundraising projects, to partner with different organizations. Oh, yes. Now, it wouldn't happen all the time, but once in a while. And that's the part of getting the theater back connected to the community that I really wanted to do. Since we've taken over, a couple of things. I mean, I realized I had so many people. We actually put our movie times back in the Lincoln Courier, which was a big deal. But there's a lot of people that is where they get.
But it's progress.
It's progress, and so I did that, because it was just where people were used to seeing it. So they were so disappointed when they couldn't. It wasn't even there, and previously it had gotten shrunk down to a 1-inch ad. They could, even it was there, I couldn't. People couldn't read it.
You had to get out your looker to see it.
So we got that. We actually have our website where you can go get the movie times and everything like that. But we did go in where I was getting involved in the community, is to be able to do things like that, to have the flexibility. When it was corporate owned, they just didn't do anything. Everything was no. They just didn't do anything. We have done school programs already. We've had the Lincoln Junior Highs come in. Carroll Catholic has been there. Washington Monroe to do different, bring their student classes in to see a movie, where in the past they either didn't do it or they actually drove out of Lincoln and took the bus out to go another place. So that was something I really wanted to give them the opportunity to use the theater when it works for them, and we cut them a very good deal, because it's important for the kids to come in and have a good time and everything. Then we also did another fundraiser which I offered up to all of the schools, where they could come in, they get a flyer. They bring the family in, and for every time for every combination of a ticket, a popcorn, and a movie, they got $2 off. And then I made a donation back to the school's parent-teacher association.
Great.
So we did that. So it was kind of a zero, no real effort. You didn't have to dig a ditch, no heavy lifting to raise some money for the school. Basically, the family goes out, they get a little bit, they enjoy something, takes a little bit of the monetary pressure off them, but then we gave some money right back to the school. So that was a good program to do.
And goodness knows the schools can use it.
Sure. And they appreciate it because they want to have opportunities for their families to do something as a family. That's what I wanted. There's a lot of wins about that. Family, the kids going out with the parents, taking the family to see a movie, helping the school out, So it was a very positive thing.
Here's a good nostalgia run. Did you know, for instance, that in the days of yore, they had ushers in the movie houses?
Oh, yeah.
And dressed in uniform, some little pillbox hats and so forth, particularly in the metropolitan areas.
Right.
But we had ushers at Lincoln Community Theater, at Lincoln Theater.
Right.
Little flashlights, showing you down, take you down there.
Yeah, I don't remember the ushers, but I do remember that I got told to turn around and quit talking a couple times when I was in high school. When Mr. Linhart, he was hard on me because I didn't think I was that really.
You weren't that
rowdy,
big
but I guess I was just talking too much. But you were supposed to sit down and face forward and watch the movie.
Yes,
and
quietly.
I turned around and chatted. I guess.
Ladies, please remove your high hats.
I'm sorry, but one other point you did say about community things. One thing I would like to do is potentially do some of those, bring back some old shows and do that once in a while. I think that would be fun to do. And also, I'd like to do a film festival, to actually bring in some new unknown shows and just kind of pick a weekend and do a film festival. So we're looking at different things to try. Now, we can't stop everything. The money is made in the current releases, but sometimes in the spring it's a little quiet anyway. It's a little slow time, so we're going to look at maybe next spring doing a little film festival.
There's definitely a place for that kind of thing. My aunt Alice May, lives in Minneapolis, and there are theaters there that have only those kinds of shows, like art film.
Right.
And she seeks them out and goes just right along. She enjoys them immensely.
Right. We played, I think it was in April. It was only for 1 week, but we played Jane Eyre.
Oh, my.
Now, that went pretty well. I didn't get enough opportunity to promote it because I only got 3 days notice that it's going to be here on Friday. It was kind of okay.
Here
it is. And it's like, well, I'm glad to try it. It was a great first try at something that's definitely more on the eclectic art side, but not real extreme, not real oddball things, So, because many people have, of course, read the book and everything, so it was you could tell they knew what the story was going to be. It was just a new interpretation of it. So we did do some marketing. I actually used Facebook to market this a little bit. We, have it still in the paper, and then actually here at the radio station, they actually play our, advertise our upcoming movies. So it turned out I had people driving up from Springfield and from Bloomington to see the movie. Had I known that it wasn't playing any place in a little bit more prep time, I think we could have done something. Now, we're not going to become an art house, but we will try to pick every once in a while the ones that really make sense for us to play and try to bring that in, because there are people in Lincoln that do appreciate it. They want to get it. It's not, like you said, we're not going to only be an art house, but I'd like to try to have that broad. No, it wouldn't work that way. But that one played good. We had it 1 week; it did very well.
Yeah.
I had a lady. This lady came down from Bloomington. She said, "There's 43 screens in Bloomington, and not one is playing this Jane Eyre."
See?
So I was like, "Well, I wish I had known that, so I would have tossed some advertising somehow." But it's hard to do. To get to people and advertising in any way. People are bombarded in so many ways with advertising. How do you pick the one that gets to them? That's difficult.
You juggle a lot of balls in the air. Number one, you're gainfully employed 5, maybe 6 days a week. You have your entrepreneurship, which requires a lot of thought and preparation.
Right.
I mean,
well, if you drive by my house and the dining room is not set in the very front window, but my windows are pretty wide. You know where I live. Yeah. So if you're driving by at night and you see the dining room light on between 9 to midnight, I'm doing theater business there at home. Sure. That's the rest of the job. I'm sitting there trying to get that done. So, yeah, I have my regular full-time job and beans and such, and then I also try to do some other projects within the community and the theater. So it was kind of like the third job. So it's
why don't you, if you would, David, other projects? Take a little walk into what some of the other projects are.
Well, I have been working with trying to do another community enhancement, which is our potential bike path that I would like to look at.
Yes.
And, we're really just doing legwork on it. We're really trying to get people interested in it, and it is potentially the old interurban line that goes from behind Adams School up to the Union and the old Union Depot. It's basically a 10-mile path. Most of it is still owned by the railroad. I think 9 of the 10 miles is still owned by the railroad. So, we're really trying to get grassroots to get that in place. It's an amazing path already. It's wooded. A lot of it is. It's beautiful, and it's very accessible to the city. If you can, it's pretty easy to get to. Lincoln's still small enough. You can get up to Adams School and potentially have that as your stop station and take the path. So our first kind of plan that we're working on is to get up past Interstate 55 up to where Zion Cemetery is in Epperson, and that be the small, the first phase, so that people can understand what it would look like, how it would feel, and get some experience with it. So I'd like to see that just as an enhancement to the community.
Okay. Hang on.
I believe we have another caller here. We put the headsets up here and find out, and I think we're going to stop that. We have a little feedback there. I think, caller, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to, hey, Joe Ryan, I wanted to call in and tell you all you're doing a wonderful job, but I wanted to compliment Dave on the theater. And, Lincoln needs to realize there's some great restaurants downtown that, the theater opens it up to give you an evening out. And hats off to you, Dave. The theater is 100% better than it used to be, and we need to get out there and support it.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
You're very welcome.
Go ahead, Joe.
Mr. Gossett, you're doing an excellent job.
Well, for Geezer, we're doing all right here, I guess. We appreciate the call of community support, Joe. That's an important thing to remind everybody out there in Etherland. It's a joy to have a young entrepreneur who has a serious interest in downtown Lincoln. Sure, he's a prophet. He's actually looking for the bottom line, but he's farsighted enough to think that he can plan ahead and then reap perhaps a little bit better later down the road as he gets a little older. So we really appreciate David's entrepreneurship. And Joe, we thank you very much for your call, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys have a good day.
And thanks for coming in to see the movies, Joe. I know. Again, there's just local people that are coming in, and they understand that you have to. They have to support the theater, so that's a wonderful thing, and Joe's great about that.
A quick aside, and then it looks like we're going to have to think about wrapping up. We'd rather not. Is it a viable idea to think in terms of having a community day? For instance, take the community of Elkhart, and having the Elkhart Day or Atlanta Day or Mount Pulaski Day or something like that. Just a thought that came off the top of my head. We couldn't have a Burton View Day. We only have 5 people out there. Or Birkbeck.
Yeah. Well,
it's just something I thought of as we were sitting here talking about this.
I definitely think Lincoln has, there's a lot of things that go around our Art and Balloon Festival, which is a wonderful long weekend. Yes. A lot of energy and activity goes into that, which I think is great. I do think we need to look at, how can we come up with other things to do, not taking away from anything being done there, but you can't. You can't just plan for 1 weekend a year. And even as we work with the chamber, they're the same way. Like, oh man, it's so much effort. It becomes so big, and we just keep adding on to that. I'd like to see how do we spread events through the calendar year. And not that I really have the answer for that, but I do think that helps have people to come back more than one time a year to visit our community. So how do we kind of spread that out as opposed to keep adding on to that? I think that's something that would be a good thing to look at.
Well, and I say thank you, God, for people like you, because you're the one to look to for being able to spread it out and think of things to do. I haven't got that fertile a mind, I'm afraid.
Well, he's
so
got younger
goodness.
mind. His mind's a lot younger. You don't understand that.
Well, that's the truth.
Well, the first thing that hits you when you walk into the new Lincoln Theater is the brightness and the cleanliness of it, and it's an impressive atmosphere in which to go. It's really neat.
It's kind of interesting because when you do go in, if you sit there and look at it, the original where the concessions area is at, that was actually open air. Where the ticket booth is and those doors, it wasn't actually ever enclosed when it was built. You kind of waited out in the elements under there. And then in the 30s, they actually put the doors in the ticket booth.
Yes.
But it's 1939-ish when that was put in, so that concession area, it's all Art Deco. If you look at the ceiling and it's actually trimmed out, it's got rounded corners everywhere, it's all Art Deco. Walk through the main doors into the long lobby, the curved lobby, that's all the classical lines from 1922. So it's got the ornate molding in there. So it's like two whole different places and two different styles, which when we did the changes, we definitely left it that way. You know, we accented the Art Deco, accented the classical line, as opposed to trying to change it into one different thing, you know, or just make it modern and whitewash it all away. You know, so we really should try to accent what had happened to it historically over time. And the same thing with the marquee. You know, it's been all repainted and got the lights going, got the lights, what they call the flasher in it, so you see the chasing lights. You know, got that all redone. 800 light bulbs.
800.
Yeah. So that was a fun little project.
Was a nice, that really needed it badly.
Yes.
One final question, I think. Are we going to have bank night?
Bank night.
Oh, dear.
I thought you were going to ask me if we were going to have Screeno night.
Screeno. Well, so it goes along with
Is
the same
that about
thing.
the same thing? Now, I've heard a lot about Screeno. That's sing-alongs. Well, Screeno, we actually, upstairs, I found some Screeno cards. Not enough to actually play the game, but there were some Screeno cards upstairs.
Oh, my gosh. Did you find all kinds of fun things when you got to
not
dig
as
in?
much fun stuff as you might think. It had been cleared out quite a bit over time. You know, I was
Nothing for
hoping to have a room that had never been opened for, you know, but that wasn't the case.
Well, we appreciate very much David Lanterman taking his time to come visit with us this morning, talking about his newest acquisition, example of his entrepreneurship, Lincoln Theater. It's a great asset to have.
Thank you so much.
And Lincoln,
it's a pleasure to have.
We appreciate what you're doing there. We would ask you if you have anything that you would like to wrap up with before we say goodbye to our viewers out there.
Yeah, the one thing that I didn't expect to happen, which I was so grateful to happen. You know, I did purchase the theater for a reason to have it and to be proud of it. And what really did change is everybody that comes in, they give all sorts of compliments. So I thank everybody for the compliments. Everybody has been so complimentary. That's great. But what they do say is they say, we love our theater. So their buy-in to what I wanted to accomplish is the best reward, because we are doing it together. I couldn't do it if they weren't walking through the doors, you know, and they appreciate that we're trying to make it a better experience for them. So that's been the best thing about the whole process for me, is just where they'll say, it's our theater now. I just love that. That's great.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's a great way to end. You know, David, in the old days they used to have, in the starlets, you know, budding young actresses who were trying to make it big on the screen, and there were a lot of comments about starlets and so forth. They don't have them anymore. That's not too bad. The old saying was, a starlet who is trying to make it to the top usually wears clothes that do not quite make it. Thank you for Viewpoint.
Thank you.
Many people worry they don't have what it takes to manage their own investments. At Edward Jones,